I'm Rick Sanchez, and we're in Iran. And I want to bring you the very latest from this place. And the reason we wanted to come here was because we think journalism is about talking to the people who are affected by the stories that we cover, not just the officials. We know what the story is right now politically. The Iranian foreign minister is talking to the American representatives. The Israelis are now involved as well. Netanyahu says he wants to fly to Washington. Mr. Netanyahu says, look, the bottom line is I want to make sure, and this is what he's telling Trump, I want to make sure that the Iranians don't have ballistic missiles, and whatever they have, they give up. I want to make sure the Iranians promise not to have relationships with countries or organizations that are antagonizing Israel. And I want to make sure that they don't enrich uranium in any way. This is what the Mr. Netanyahu is saying. The Iranians are saying we're willing to go along with not enriching, with no enrichment of uranium. However, we're not along. We don't want to talk about the other items on Mr. Netanyahu's agenda. This is why this is so complicated right now. And what makes this more interesting is that Mr. Trump has been making a lot of threatening comments about Iran, and the Iranians, of course, and this is, of course, typical of Mr. Trump. He wants to own the negotiation, and he negotiates through strength. So where does this go? I think it's imperative to understand what the complications of the story are. And the complications of the story have to do with what is happening internally in this country. Why are the Iranians angry? They're angry because of their economy. I mean, the currency in this country about a year ago was about 80,000 to the dollar, right? For the currency, the money that people use in this country. Now it's up to about 260,000 per dollar. It's hard. It's hard on the average human being, the average person who's working here, which is why it's imperative to hear from them and to hear from the government with full transparency. And that's what we have been trying to do. I've spoken to several government officials, spoken to some journalists as well, and I've asked them point blank and honestly. It's easy to blame, the Mossad, where there is some responsibility, obviously. It's easy to accuse the United States of being involved in instigating this currency situation which caused the protest. But what responsibility is it of the government of Iran? What have you done or failed to do? And this is an important part of it. And there is some admission on the part of many of these officials who are saying, yeah, there are things that we could have done. And there are things that we now plan to do differently when it comes to dealing with this problem. And I'll tell you straight up, one of them is corruption, which is, I know there's corruption everywhere and every government has levels of corruption. But given the sanctions and given this difficulty of what's happening in Iran, if too many people have their hands on the inflow, too many people are getting their take before these goods that are coming to this country reach the people are going to know that. And that's in many ways what they're complaining about. So there's a lot of issues in this story, and I'm finding them out as I'm here, because I think this is where the real story is. And that's why we're here. That's why we'll continue to be here throughout the week, bringing you the latest from Iran, from the streets of Tehran, and hoping upon hope with the rest of the world that this situation doesn't escalate. Because the Iranians are saying, we've heard it, if you hit us, we'll hit back. We'll hit the U.S. bases along the Gulf states in the Middle East, and we'll hit Israel as well. It's a dangerous situation, but one that requires the right questions, and we're trying to ask them. I'm Rick Sanchez, reporting from a bazaar, in a beautiful bazaar, by the way, with some of the most wonderful foods I've ever seen, so natural, from the streets of Tehran.